Boom, boom. Okay. Okay. This is Bridges for Music. All the way from Ennerdale, a small town in Johannesburg, South Africa, Sio, an African queen creative sensation, joins us in conversation today. She performed in Langa 6 years ago and is back here again, this time speaking on her career and journey to becoming one of Africa's first female to feature on Spotify's Equal Ambassador. Let's get straight into it. Yeah, and I just like how you managed to kind of you've written your story and this is how you want to say it and you say it like that. Like I'm a vocalist and I'm switching to, I used to do hip hop and rap a lot. Now I'm switching to house, but I'm struggling to like say what I really want to say because there's this house format that you have to follow.
You don't.
Dun 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 dun. So when I heard just a test, I was like, but you are hitting all the points you want to hit and you're talking about what you want to talk about. You're not like saying the first 3 things that kind of like, for me, house is like, say this phrase and then it goes and then a new phrase and then there's 3 phrases in this whole song and people, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah.
I mean, to each their own. I feel like whenever I encounter an artist who isn't particularly within the house world or is new to it and they come from a different school, I'm also fascinated to see what you would do as you with the sound versus you following the formula of the sound. Because whenever I think of formulas, they just break my brain.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, there's a formula. I don't know, bruh. I'm just like, this song is saying, do this. I'll see if it works.
Yeah.
Producer, do you think it works? You sure? You sure. Must I not do anything over again? And they're like, no, it's fine. Great. So for me, it would always be like, I'd be far more interested in seeing
like what you do.
you rap.
But that's the thing.
Me,
I don't want to ask, not that I don't want to ask the producer, but for me, it's like every time I ask the producer, they want to change it, and that's why I like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not what I would want to do, but it's like, oh, okay, so since it only, like, this is what works for house or whatever. But
I don't think so. I think people personally who follow formulas are the reasons why things die.
Yeah.
And I get that there's a formula, don't get me wrong. But I also feel like there's a hell of a lot of room to evolve.
Yeah.
For example, I caught Charles Webster's attention on a song that didn't follow a house formula. There's no chorus in that song. I left it alone. I'm not humming. There's no background vocal, nothing.
Just woman.
No.
Oh, the one
he... song called Next to You.
Okay.
The one that he remixed. So it's got no chorus. And his version is 8 minutes long of the song.
Well, I mean, I could go the whole time speaking to you like about personal stuff, but I think we need to get into the actual podcast. So yeah.
Let me just put my phones on silent so they don't
no problem
interrupt and mess up frequencies. Where are they?
I just think maybe with experience, like I'll get the hang of my own type of formulas and how to like speak that with the producer. I think my relationship with the producer needs to like improve, but that'll happen. After time.
Yeah, or you just do that off the jump, so it's not something you have to say sorry for. Maybe not say sorry. To say that you're apologizing for it is a bit of a overreach for me to say. But for you to just go in as you. The people who will appreciate the uniqueness, because honestly, there's people who follow formulas because that's what's safe, and then there's people who can get away with being CEO because they've always been CEO.
True. Okay, so I'm just gonna introduce the session. So, welcome to everyone who's listening. This is the Bridges for Music podcast, and I'm with CEO.
What's good?
We're really happy to have you here and the workshop that is happening as well. I've got a question. My first question is, growing up in Ennerdale, how was it? I mean, am I pronouncing correctly?
Enadale.
Enadale.
Just say the Dale.
Dale.
They'll know. The Dale. They'll know.
Yeah, so how was it? Did you grow up in a community that had rich music culture, or was your music influence more like internal within the family?
I think there was a very rich music culture, but I was always an oddball. I was always an outcast. As everybody's children kind of didn't like me. So those are the people I was obviously engaged with. So I feel as an adult now with a different lens on things, a child's prejudice comes from their parents. In my opinion, I speak under correction, and if you are a parent, you are welcome to clap me on the face about it. But so I wasn't really involved with the other kids in the hood. However, I come from a community where the Manhattan started on Saturday afternoon and played right through till Sunday. The Manhattans, the Temptations, Lionel Richie, and that school of music. So we'd know all of those on the weekend. Then I had an uncle who played like a lot of contemporary R&B and soul. I had a mother with very eclectic music tastes, and a father who was very sporadic and seasonal. He'd come in on the seasons he wanted to, and he'd leave on the seasons he wanted to. But when he was around, it was also very eclectic. Like there was country music, which is an odd one, mixed in with ABBA, mixed in with Sade, mixed in with Kenny G and Tony Braxton and Luther Vandross and Mariah Carey. So it was a lot, a very eclectic mix. So very like. My mother's taste is actually quite wild. So my mom also liked Sting. My dad liked Andreas Vollenweider. I was like, okay, let's run with it. So it was very eclectic. And the community is very sort of predominantly colored in its taste. So very old school American R&B soul vibes. Yeah.
Okay. And then when did you decide to make music like... I know I've been reading a lot, and you also mentioned you had a 9-to-5, but like when did you decide, okay, no, like I want to be CEO full on, and I want to do this music thing, and this is what I want to make this my career?
I had a dream, and I didn't even think of it as a dream until it hit me. Remix situation where maybe not absolutely everyone, but a large majority of the people I grew up listening to and I was a huge fan of, like the groot manne, I guess, of the game, remixed a song I'd done with Julian Gomes, who was a legend in my eyes, although we're not very far apart in age. Actually, but he'd been at it so long that I looked up to him, and he invited me to do music with him, and on his debut album called Late Dreamer, because he'd heard a song I'd done with a group from Soweto called Lilac Jeans. So we did a song This Loved, and they heard of me through Next to You, which connected me to Charles Webster. So it's all an ecosystem, and a rippling domino effect in a way. But this 1,000 Memories got remixed by Fred Everything, Charisma, Oshunlade, and Edges. I was like, hold on. What is happening? At the same time, Luca is telling me that Charles Webster wants to do a remix of Next Year. I'm like, wait. I'm from NNL, people. What's going on? I don't understand what is going on, but that they cared about my voice, that they cared about my story, that they thought I had something unique to offer, and a very specific, and again, sorry for the overuse of it, but unique story to tell and a unique voice, said I could potentially do this full time. And as terrifying as that leap was, it's paid off.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, I mean, some people go to school and etc., and then they're like, oh, but I think it's, once you've kind of made the decision while working at a 9-to-5, that's like when you make the final. And with that whole kind of inspiration, I really understand why you could sort of stamp your name and be like, I want to be in this.
Yeah.
So 1,000 Memories featuring Julian Gomez took the house scene by surprise and kind of certified CEO in the scene, so to say. I know personally you've always been your number one certification what.
Got you.
But like, how was that? How was the response from that song, and how was being certified or everyone else hearing about you or knowing about you now change your life, or just how did it change you?
Again, that gave me the faith to, it really made me stop and think of music as a serious career choice versus a side hustle. It made everything else the side hustle. Just the response to the song, even to this day when I sing it, I don't sing it, everyone else sings it. I just stand there and laugh and smile and joyously engage. But honestly, it's sang by the crowd because they know it so well. So that just, it made everything else a side hustle and gave me the confidence to pursue music full time, because it showed me people I admire, never mind everybody else. And there was a very big number of everybody else, and I was surprised by the response, because I was on an album with Zion, who I'd also looked up to as a songwriter and as a vocalist, and he's still doing things, but he was on the album too, and I was just like, I'm here with these people that I used to listen to, and we are peers. What do you mean? What does this even mean? So that gave me the boost, and a lot of people paid attention to me thereafter, because I think they feel, and I feel a lot of people thought I wrote a song that is very sweet without being cheesy. So it's like, oh, great, thanks. I'm glad you like it. I don't expect anybody to like anything I do anyway. So I'm still to this day pleasantly surprised when they do, because I do know that I'm not doing anything formulaically. I'm also not doing anything that's particularly going to hit popular streaming spaces or radio space or just like the pop culture of anything. So I'm always pleasantly surprised when people are like, that's dope. I'm like, yes, thanks.
Wow. Again, you've got like a very strong presence, and I love that.
Thank you.
And your creativity sparks itself even through your appearance. So how important is presentation for you as an artist, and who inspired your unique, bold look?
It's honestly inspired by me being lazy. I'm not gonna lie, because a full face beat to me just looks like a hell of a lot of work. And I know that there's people that can do that in like 10 minutes and smash it, but I'm just like this layer of this thing and that thing, and I'm like, ooh, I can put lashes on, and I only learned like last year how to put false lashes on myself, having been a model. But also I've sat in model chairs, and I know the process, and it's never really been a 10-minute fix. So even just like a very basic face is a lot of work, understanding the process. And there's people who can bash that, and I'm like, I don't know the time, guys. So I wanted, and there's also, maybe to call it a form of rebellion is overreaching, but to an extent, because I can't find another word at this time. It is a form of rebellion because I model, and there's a connotation of being good looking in modeling, and sometimes I just think I'm a weird looking creature that people can put makeup on and kind of sell stuff to, and some people actually call me beautiful, which is still a difficult thing for me to own, but okay, thank you. There's an expectation to be a certain kind of pretty and present myself in a way that is palatable and beautiful and comfortable. And because I was bullied as a child, and it's almost part of my nature now to rebel against what people expect. So it's just me doing makeup my way. It's graphic, it's interesting. It's just in terms of the makeup. It's graphic and it's interesting, and I'm not sexualizing myself. And I've had this conversation, and it's still something I'm grappling with as a woman, because there's an expectation, because one, you're a woman, and if you're a model and people consider you good looking, there's an extra level of people wanting to impose sexiness as they know it onto you. And I'm just like, as soon as you impose, I duck and I do my own thing. And I don't want to sexualize myself. And it also took me a very long time to present CO to everybody and share CO with everybody. Like even when I had done 1000 Memories, even right up to Forbidden, not many people knew what I looked like. And that was a conscious decision. And then when I decided to do my own album, I was like, okay, people are going to have to look at me in the face and know who I am, and it's me, right? Know who I'm from and know my story. That's when I started to share it a lot more. But I was very comfortable letting the work speak first before I presented myself. So I didn't have to conform to a lot of the things I'd seen imposed on females within the music space. Then I also just like, and power to you, if that's what you're about, that's on you. This is just me. But like, there's a lot of women who are also overtly sexualize their bodies and have that being a selling tool. And I feel, for me, I'm uncomfortable to do that. I'm afraid of doing that because I'm fearful that you're not going to be listening to me because of the music. You're going to be interested in my body, and I don't want that to be a selling point for what I do. And that may not be the case for a lot of women, but I remember at this job I was in that we spoke about, the boss knew that I was into music, and she, female, because it's a gate-kept patriarchal concept, was like, no, it's cool, let's make a demo and we'll shoot you, because it was a stills production company, and we'll put you in thigh-high boots, a mini skirt, and very sexy makeup. And I'm like, it's that deep. So I want to go against that. And if you care about me, you'll care about what I'm saying, you'll care about the music, and I'll look weird on purpose. So you're just like, she pretty, but it's weird. So I don't know what to do with it. So there's a lot of essentially armor in my presentation and the boldness of it. So it's eye-catching, and I'm grateful that's working. So that works. So there's a viability in the image, which is also another unfair thing, because I feel women have to care a hell of a lot more about how we look and how we present ourselves within music spaces, because the game is male and run by men, and we have to pander to patriarchal systems set in place before we were even born. And as try as we might to fight it, it's gonna take generations after me to really see that kick into gear and shift. But we also play towards it. So the guys don't have to care, bro. The guys come through wearing what they're wearing. Some people really don't give a damn. And a very bad example is when, what was it? The Global Citizen concert came to Soweto. And I saw, not necessarily saw, but it's just the same. Beyonce came and Ed Sheeran came. And they pulled the same numbers. Where Ed Sheeran looked like he rolled out of bed last week. And we don't know if he had a shower or not. Whereas Beyonce, there's her image in and of itself. And her physical presentation there's a whole team just for that. And there's the music team in the choreo. You know, there's a lot that she's got. There's a machine going on. But like, she has to... I don't know if she'd be able to be Beyonce without the team and the beauty and all of the things that men go, oh, she's pretty. We can sell her. Because as a woman, you expect it to be a beautiful thing to sell. So, there's a lot behind the look.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that. And yeah, I could tell that maybe there is something behind. It's not just because you felt like you want to wake up in the morning. Okay, maybe part of that too.
I'm lazy. I'm not gonna lie. I am lazy.
Yeah, part of that too. But I mean, like, I can hear especially the armor part. Like, it's actually something that, it is quite serious, and it is something that women, I think,
have to think about more. Sometimes we're not thinking. It's just because it's there that we do it, and it's all like all of the other girls are doing it. So subconsciously, yeah. And I'm like, nah. Not like today. Not like everybody else, for the sake of it.
So I thought you were like a full-on producer, but I heard you mention that you're a producer, but you don't want to own that yet.
No, I haven't done enough to call myself a fully fledged producer, no.
So then I scratched that out of my question. And I was like, as a musician, poet, singer, and DJ, I believe you. I've seen you play, and I think you're a DJ. Not what you said earlier on. And I feel like you have full capacity of your creativity in like all those aspects.
Thank you.
So I respect that, and you're also equally professional as well. So I want to know, what motivates you to ensure that through all those like different, my English is bad, facets?
Fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever language, if I can understand.
In all those facets, like how do you make sure that you practicing how to mix, you have a mix going or whatever, and you're writing as well, and you are also doing writing and writing is kind of not the same thing, but so how do you make sure that you're motivated to keep practicing, so to say, all those different aspects? Or do you usually take it like
as they
today
come?
I feel like, yeah,
I don't know, I think it's a mix of both. Like I am, I don't know, bad example again would be how, gym bunnies talk. Like they want to get the six pack, so they know they create a goal that they want to hit, and maybe that's like a fitness contest or competition where they're like, okay, now I really have to clean up my act. With me, it's a bit of both. So I'll focus on something, depending on what I need to do. Sometimes I'm highly inspired and I'll just write because there's a sense of inspiration, or I'm in the mood to mix and practice. I'm always so busy, so I'm always working on my craft in some capacity anyway. And COVID taught me the length of a day. So I actually wrote a lot, last year I think I wrote 5 books worth of things because I was sitting. Wow. And there's no one around me, there's no distractions, no noise. So I wrote two poem books, and I wrote 3 novels, and one of them I've converted to a script just for me because I'm interested and I have the time. So discipline. Sometimes I have to do stuff I really don't have lists to do, like I really don't feel like doing it, but I'm always motivated, especially when I have a gig, so that helps me. And sometimes it's just like, that last gig was so bad, I need to do better next time. What do I need to work on? What are the notes I give myself, and what are other kind of notes I can take from my peers and the people working with me on stage if I'm performing with a band. If it's by myself, just recalling the notes. And I use stories as a very good guide. Like, okay, that sounded weird. What can I do to fix that? That looks weird. What can I do to fix that? So just watch people's stories of me at performances, because that's feedback. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not bad. So it depends. So yeah, I don't know if that answers you, but like, so it's a mix of a lot of things. Sometimes I have less, and I'll just do it because I'm in the mood, and I'm a creature and a creative that works off of inspiration 90% of the time. But if I have to just knuckle down and grind without the inspiration, I'm also quite disciplined enough to do stuff. However, let me book a gig, and I'm like, you know what? Focus, and it's easier. It's a lot easier than doing it when there is no incentive, almost. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking about like hustling and, getting very busy and getting booked and stuff, your music, your writing is very spiritual, I feel. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but how do you then keep your energy within the midst of everything? So, meeting people and having to gig, and like, do you lose any of your energy, and how do you maintain it so that when you have to write, when you have to,
Girl, there's so many things I've put in place to safeguard my energy, because like, I'm an empath as a person, and that just means that I'm very sensitive to people's energies in general, which I think most, like 99% of artists are. Doesn't matter which form of art you're engaging in, you are sensitive to people's energies. Other people don't cope with it well, and they turn to substances to help them cope. I'm very giving of my energy when I meet with people, and I used to have an RPF in public, because I didn't like people groping and touching on me in town when I needed to use a taxi and stuff. But I let that go because it became a thing of, oh, you're CEO, and I had to adjust my face. And that was embarrassing. So I'm just like, let that go. So that was a defense mechanism I had to let go of. And then it got difficult again to move through the world until I figured certain things out. And I was just like, okay, I can't do too many, and this isn't even really a thing. When I have a busy week and I'm meeting a lot of people and working on things, I need a day thereafter to do absolutely nothing and be a couch potato and recharge. Be dirty, decide if I'm gonna brush my teeth or not, kind of the couch potato day. I call it a Shrek day. I need a Shrek day so I can just Shrek the whole day. Eat whatever I want, do whatever I want, and just lay there. That helps me recharge. I need time on my own to recharge. And I also, as a writer, I write not necessarily best, but I prefer to write on my own and then share afterwards. I also have realized, just in terms of all of the spiritual things or the nature of all things, living, whether it is alive right now or not, even in terms of fabric, how things have energy. So I don't wear black on stage if I'm singing specifically, because black is an absorber of things. It's a shade. So I'm like, I don't want to take your energy home with me. And I know that you're hectic, so I don't want to take it. You're coming here and I don't know what your week has been like. It's a Friday or a Saturday, it's a weekend. You may have had a hard week and you need to offload. And you're coming to Groove to offload, and I happen to be the person in front of you. Or you probably very mischievous and you want to do nonsense. There's very few people who come to Groove just for the music, and I know them and you can see them. Clear-minded, just open-hearted, and other people are there to take. Some people are also there to dump. And I wear white on purpose because white's reflective and deflecting for me. So it's easier for me, so I don't feel as drained as I do if I wear different colors. I know it's weird, but all of these things help me. I do a lot of prayer. I do a lot of, like, even in the shower, I do like a cleansing prayer over myself after gigs, just to like not only cleanse my body but just the energy, because that's what water does for me. So there's a lot I do. A lot. Burn incense, burn sage, pray, wear crystals, wear oils. Yeah, it's a lot. Because people are hectic.
Yeah. If you want to listen to these conversations live and have access to this incredible community, you can join us at our physical campus, the Bridges Academy in Langa, South Africa. A revolutionary learning space where you will find courses on music, entrepreneurship, film, DJing, and much more. For more information on how to apply, visit bridgesacademy.org. So, I mean, you spoke about Project 5 a bit earlier on, and I just wanted you to explain a little bit about how it came about.
Okay, so I am from Annandale, and all of the boys in Project 5, except for one, actually. So 3 of the 4 of them, or rather 4 of the 5 of us entirely, were from Annandale. One of the other boys was from Meadowlands, Soweto. So we met because 2 of the guys, namely Jabulani and Bongani, knew this girl that I used to be friends with, and they did a song with her. She stunning voice, beautiful, husky, raspy, Lila James kind of voice. And she did not want to do music, but she'd done a song with them, and she's not really a songwriter, so she didn't like what she'd created. And one of them was studying engineering, and the other one had dropped out of music school. And Bongani specifically had a beat, and Jabwe just bought a studio mic in his house for his room. So she called me and said, listen, these guys, this one's got a beat, this one's got a mic, don't you want to write? Because you can actually write songs, not like me. So I was like, okay, sharp. And we took like a 10-minute walk from my house, which is in extension 10, Annandale, to extension 5, to Jabu's house, Bongani and I, and we wrote, this was like on a Friday afternoon, we wrote Love Mirrors, which was the single from that project. And then by the end of the weekend, so we came back on Sunday, we didn't do anything on Saturday, but we came back this Sunday, and we had, I think, 4 songs. I can't remember all of them, but like we did all 4 songs that weekend. And then they went shopping because they knew the people, and then a few weeks later they're telling me that Ping Africa was interested in the project. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then Jabulani and Tabo happens to be the guy who's from Meadowlands, did music together, so they had a different style. to Project 5 entirely because all of the producers would have to contribute in some way. So they were working on stuff together even before Project 5 was formed, and they formed Marubini Music and invited me to do 2 songs, namely Dance After 12 and I remember the lyrics and the melody. But like I can't remember the song because oh my gosh, I've done so many actually. But like that EP and that got signed to FOMP UK as well, and I'm just like the English people like us. Yeah, and then that happened to get a lot of ears, so that's how that started.
Okay, and then with Charles Webster, I mean, there's a lot that, in your career that he's kind of, or it seems like he's kind of put you under his wing a bit and showed you the ropes, so to say. But how has it been, like, from that first call that you got from him, like...
Girl, I was doing a whack job as a product in-store service announcer for Game at the time. So I'm sitting at the front desk on a Saturday, miserable, hating my life, talking about how crazy fridge. There's a fridge and there was a TV, the curved TV that everyone had at the time. And they were all on some, it's only 12,099 Rand. And I'm like, only. In my head, I'm like, that's not only, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I have to say that every time. So I was sitting at the front desk and Luca sends me a mail saying, Charles Webster wants to work with you. I was like,
you lie.
Oh. And then it's like, can I give him your details? I'm like, yeah, sure. Liar. And Charles instantly emailed me and he's like, he likes what I did on Next to You. He thinks I'm a cool writer and he'd like to work with me. I just about fell out my chair. And everyone was like, why is she in a good mood today? I was like, oh, guys. But like, yeah, it broke my brain. So that was it. And then we worked on the songs that he released 5 years later. But he'd been working on them for some time during the period we met. So it was really dope.
And one of them is Woman, which is my favorite song.
No, that one is actually later. That's for my album. We worked on stuff for his album and we did... I can't remember the names now. The first song of his album and the fourth one. So... yeah, I remember the melodies. Today my brain's not working. But I'll send you a list. But yeah, we did those and then we did Woman and Aquamarine for my album as a swap because we'd swapped. Yeah. And
just to get into Woman, what inspired you to kind of take that route? I know that I think at the time, gender-based violence was also quite rife.
Mad.
I mean, it's always been a situation, but I felt like it was a bit rife at the time. So the song, for me, was kind of like a soothing sort of anthem that it motivated me a lot and kept me... And I was DJing at the time as well. So I just loved playing. I always like playing still today. Thanks. But, yeah, so, like, what inspired you to kind of take that narrative?
Yeah. As you're saying, there's a lot of... I don't think it's been rife. I think it's always been rife, but because we were inside with nowhere to go and we were on our phones a hell of a lot at the time when I wrote it. There was lockdown season 1.
Yes.
COVID season 1, the first version.
Yeah.
So we'd all just gone into our homes and we were very insulated and on our phones and everything was just amplified because it's here. We're not getting a break from it. We're not like going to do something else and then coming back to it. It's not on the news for 30 minutes for the night. It's there all the time. So I was like, I've also been, I'm also I don't want to call myself a survivor, but men have done shit, excuse my French, to me from childhood right through my life. And I was getting tired of seeing it. I was also getting tired of seeing racism rife worldwide in this day and age. And I'm like, aren't you bored of it? Also, I was in a place where it just felt like being a woman is my first crime. And I didn't even choose it. And how... is parcelized even a word? How a woman can be shunted from person to person, from a father's surname to her husband's surname, and she is a daughter or a sister or a worker or a mother or a lover. But who is she? Who is she? like, what is her definition of herself? And I did not know a woman who didn't speak of herself, who spoke of herself outside of the definitions of those parameters. Like, she's someone's daughter, mother, sister, friend, lover, wife. But who is she to herself? And nobody could answer that. Not a lot of women did. And I was like, wow, we aren't ourselves, for example. So that it came from a lot of those places, and hearing all of the rubbish women were going through at the time, and how much reports we got to hear and see of women being perpetrated and violated by men who are angry and don't know how to deal with their emotions in a healthier way. And grew up in households that teach them what manhood is, and the violent manhood, which I don't believe is true. So it comes from that place. And I just felt like, I'm tired of not feeling like I'm my own, guys. It doesn't feel safe, and it still doesn't. It's not like it's improved since that time. But I felt like that was just something I needed to say.
Okay, that also gave me goosebumps also. So now when I play the song again, it'll have like an even greater impact.
Thank you.
Again and again. Your song with Dawson, Nobody Else, took the best music video at the Dance Music Awards South Africa. So you star in the video as well.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know, was it directed by you? Like, did you have a lot of input when it comes to... Because, I mean, I can tell that you're super creative. And, yeah, something is telling me that, yeah.
No, I didn't. Like, Platoon, at the time, had gotten in touch with Dawson's management. I speak under correction, so I think it was management at the time. I don't know if they're still together, but Black Major was managing some aspect of Dawson's music life. And I wasn't initially supposed to be the vocalist on Nobody Else. I'd written the song so he could find another vocalist, but he couldn't find anyone. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll sing it, it's alright. And then when the video came around, they wrote a story, and it was very sexualized, and I was just like, hey, guys, no, wrong person. We're not doing sexy. Sorry. And even aesthetically, they also wanted me to be a very sexy person, because they thought that Dawson is a beautiful man, which he is, and they think that I was cute. So I was like, and they wanted us to be naked, so it was quite awkward. But no, we didn't. I didn't have any sort of directive in terms of the music video. But because the story they presented was really cool, and it made sense to the story of the songs, it was like, makes sense. So yeah.
Okay. And then going back to your other facet, poetry. The Twilight Child and / The Dawn of Night, which is your recent...
It's the first one.
First one?
Yeah.
First book.
Yeah.
Who is the Twilight Child, and does the Twilight Child unfold him or herself in CO?
It's CO. It's just a poetic expression of me. That's where the music comes from. And they feed into each other now. But initially, my ability to tell stories with words. And back then I used to call myself a painter of words. Because it was very descriptive, and I did go to theatre school for a little bit and graduate from the Market Theatre Laboratory. So it's kind of like that spot. But we did theatre, and like I said during my entrance audition interview that I wanted to learn how to craft stories. That's why I'm here. And the class I cared the most about was writing class. So we had different kinds of writing teachers, but like there was one specifically where I cared a lot about what this man had to say, and it took me a long time for it to click in terms of like the storytelling thing. And then when I brought myself into his sort of formula in the script writing aspect and storytelling in that way, everybody's critique of me was always, you can paint a picture with words. So then it started to, because I'd been writing poetry at that point for like 5 years or something. So I could paint with words. So the music, then I take a lot of my rhyming ideas and stories and imagery from the poetry, which I still do, and put that in the song. But now I also put a lot more song aspects into the poetry because my poems are a lot shorter compared to what they used to be. I used to write pages and pages of poems. Like one poem would be like 4 or 5 pages long. So it's gone down to like a page, half a page now, because that's the influence from music. So it's an ecosystem of CO. All of it is me. It's just, I just thought a different name would be cool, and I used to call my poetry alias, even though nobody knew it, was the Twilight Child, so I just kept the name.
Oh, okay. I thought that they maybe were different.
Nah, it's my leg.
And then like recently you were made, I think it was last year, I'm not sure, but you were made Spotify's Equal Ambassador and your billboard was in Times Square. How did that feel? And like to be recognized on such a high level, and knowing that you're kind of putting Africa on the, well, not kind of, you're putting Africa and African women on the spot.
That was incredible. Like I was approached by them. Kid Funk and I were approached by Spotify. It was this August.
Yes.
Yeah, this August 2022. So they spoke. And he came to me and he's like, "No, Spotify is interested in something." I'm like, "Oh, I went on about my life. I didn't think anything of it." And they're like, "No, you're the ambassador of Equal." I'm like, "What does that mean?" And then they broke that down. They went through my catalog, they went through my story, they went through like who I am and what I represent, and I made sense to them just because of who I am and what I do. And I was just like, that's wonderful. Thank you for seeing me and allowing me to be myself in a way that I feel comfortable in without compromising me and staying true to myself. And saying that you're good enough for us to pay attention to and share with the world broke my brain. When I saw the billboard, I cried. Tears of joy. Like I've never cried happy tears in my life, ever, until the day they sent me the pictures and the video of myself lighting up Times Square. I was like, no, this isn't even a dream I dreamed for myself, but I receive with big love and gratitude. So it was incredible.
Wow. Like really, because I mean on an African scale, not just, South Africa.
It's mad, it's mental.
Meaning that there's like more and more dreams that are going to unravel and that are going to be big. We manifest it.
We receive. All of the people who see that can see that a girl from Annandale can do it, then everybody else can.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a place called Annandale.
Annandale.
Just get the Dale right.
Just say the Dale. The Dale, don't hurt your feelings.
Yeah, and then Torn Tapestries.
Yes.
Blood and Water.
Hey! There's a lot going on, eh?
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
There's a lot of darkness also in the titles now that I think about them. They're quite visceral.
Yeah. I mean, on a Blood and Water aspect, was that something that was the project something that you did knowing that you're gonna work on something with Blood and Water, or did the Blood and Water offer come once the
album was out? Yeah, it was more the second. Dave and I sat down together because we were speaking with, there's a lot of ideas I had at the time. This is COVID season 2, still 2020. So at the time I was just like, I want to do a house album and flip the script on everything. Like I want, as the vocalist, to be the lead artist and feature the producers, and all of the producers on that project were like, hell yes, we want that. And then I thought of all of the ways that my features as me a woman of color, me a woman of who's got a colored mother and a black father, and what that's made me go through has caused me, and then also like the perception of me being beautiful and the toxicity that people sometimes put on beauty that people who are not beautiful don't hear about, because you're supposed to be grateful that you're beautiful and there's so many doors that open to you, but you don't see the toxicity that sometimes gets plastered on us. So like, okay, I'm gonna put my features on the spotlight and talk about them. Then I had that idea, and then at the same time I thought I want to do like another album akin to my debut album. And I thought of working with Dave, but I was in a very heartbroken place with Torn Tapestries, and it's the name even is inspired by, ironically, Twilight Saga Eclipse, because there was a line in there where the writer, aka Bella, says, my life is a tapestry and it's like a carpet, and it's very, I'm paraphrasing, it's very bland, it's very beige, it's full of these beige lines and these beige occurrences and these beige threads, but there are instances of gold and ruby that have been woven in by all of the certain people and occurrences and things. And I was like, that's a beautiful thing, and I held on to it after I'd read the book years and years later, so that stayed with me. And then I thought, my life is a tapestry, a lot like a carpet, and I'm still weaving it as I go through my life. And every encounter and person is a thread through it. Some threads are very long and they make very intricate details, and some people just want to rip their threads out and tear themselves out of my life. So all of my heartbreaks are those torn parts of my tapestry.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cool, I'm keeping that as a name. So that's where that comes from. So I decided to do that, and Dave got it. Like, because Dave was with me in the heart of the breaking of my heart. We were touring my debut album, Subtexts, together, and he saw me heal. He saw me broken, he saw me flat. So he knew the story inside out, upside down, in every other angle. So he got it when I said, I wanna cry on this album. But then when we got into studio, there was no such thing. It was one of the happiest, easiest, most joyous experiences. And again, like I've said before, we recorded that entire album in 2 days. So it was quick, because we knew each other and we'd worked with each other, and it was just easy as breathing. And we had a hell of a lot of fun making it. And everything was done on the first take also, because I didn't want to overthink things. I was just like, no, leave it. We were tracking the ideas, and then when we came back to it, Dave would be like, we need to redo this. And I'm like, nope, we are leaving that click track in the song, leave it alone. And stuff like that. So Blood and Water came afterwards, after the release of the album this year. After we decided to release it, and then we did that. And they liked the song, so I'm grateful. It's really dope to be on the show.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been an amazing conversation.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
I know he just walked in to call you for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
But I have one more question.
Sure.
And we'll probably cut it over here.
Yeah.
And then start it when you answer, when I ask the question. But I just wanted to know, to any to any female that wants to stand their place and hate it when people do that, but anyways, any female artist that wants to stand their ground in a space of male, in a industry of male dominated space, what advice would you give? What advice would you give? It's like a personal ask.
No, learn to play the game like them, then play it like them as a girl. That's very convoluted, but watch how they move. Pay attention to the strategies, their manner of doing things. And then once you understand that, then understand how, and however comfortable you are, to play to your advantage. And the person I'm going to use as an example, who does a thing I'm never going to do, maybe I will, God knows, but I don't think I am, is Nadia Nakai. Nadia understands that men like her body, and she weaponizes that for her benefit. Though it's still playing to the game, but she's doing it on her terms. Do you understand? Because she understands the psychology of why they want to do that. I also understand it. I'm not brave enough. I don't feel comfortable enough to do that. But then understand, even in my undertaking of features, I was like, oh, so the producer's the one that gets the highlighted spot. The producer's the one that gets the name credited first on Apple Music at the credit section. The producer's the one that books the gigs more because he DJs. What do I need to do? Do the same thing that they're doing, but then do it the way that you've been gifted. So I can't produce, I can sing. So I'm going to do it as a singer. So understand, for me, whatever the industry is, understand it, and then pay attention to the way the boys right at the top do it, and then tweak it to suit you as a woman. and then use your femininity as a unique selling point and as your power. Because you're a girl, so you have that over them. Because they don't have it. You get.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Come to the end of the podcast. I think they're going to probably add like a thing over here.
The thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't. Like, they'll add like a part to the podcast and
Okay.
all that.
Cool.
But that was amazing. Thanks.
What?
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as we do making them. Remember, if you'd like to attend any of these workshops live, enroll in any of our upcoming programs. To support the work we do, you can find more information on bridgesformusic.org. Please don't forget to subscribe, as we'll be bringing new inspiring conversations soon. Until next time, keep safe.